and he was going to die. He's going to die. There's no doubt.
It's called palliative care.
Right.
It's standard of care.
He's also as far as he's also resident.
And I don't want that for me. What I'm trying to do now is hustle around really all that I have.
He tries to enforce his view.
I'm trying to get them forecast homes because I really love them, and that's what I'm working on now. But I was going to ask you, I know you're have a degree in divinity.
How can I help? Just tell me, how can I help?
I'm scared.
I get that.
But also, I'm going to be smarter than everyone alive, or there's going to be nothing.
Right.
So I'm going to know things that people don't know, but I'm scared to, when I shut my eyes for the last time.
Daniel, here's what I want. I know I have a number somewhere from you because I called once before. Let me put you on hold. I'm going to make sure Tom gets your number, and then he's going to text it to me tonight, and I'm going to figure out a way where we can talk more privately, and we can talk.
I know you're busy. I don't want to bother you.
I'm not. You're not bothering me, and don't think you are. I wouldn't volunteer it. Right? So I'm going to put you on hold. You're going to get a number. You're going to give it to Tom, and we'll continue this conversation where we can speak more candidly and at length. And I appreciate if you can just be patient enough to get you on hold. I'll follow up. I promise. I did before, and I'll do it again. Steve is a first-time caller in Connecticut on Coast to Coast. Steve?
Yes, sir. First-time caller coming up there.
Glad to have you.
First to the last caller there, I had a little bit of a transition from a somber call.
I don't have much time, so let's go to what you really wanted to get to, because that way I can get you on and not hit the top of the hour and maybe get in one more too.
My topic is invasive bugs.
Invasive bugs.
Actually. So stink bugs, I don't know if you guys have them at all, but there are Chinese, Korean, and Japanese bugs that migrated to, or somehow got introduced in Pennsylvania somehow.
Yeah.
In like 1998, and now it's like just all over New England. It's just insanity.
Yeah.
So my question is, like, with something like stink bugs and like murder hornets and all this other stuff, how do you think that is going to affect our ecosystem like moving forward?
We've always had obviously invasive species, right? Invasive tree species, invasive animal species. Some of that invasion comes organically, more or less, through shipping and whatever. Sometimes it's brought in with great intention, like kudzu in such a disaster in the South. But, our ecosystem will survive, but it throws everything out of whack until we can find a way to at least correct it. We certainly run into this with fish all the time. And with mollusks and other stuff that get attached to hulls when, come into harbor. So are you seeing, and I have just about 20 seconds for an answer, what are you seeing as being evidence that the ecosystem is under a bigger threat than we might have heard?
Well, the biggest issue with these new bugs and stuff like that coming into a new ecosystem is there's no predators for them.
Right.
So
it's always the way with an invasive species, yeah.
Yeah, so there's just like at our house, there could be 20 stink bugs in a room, and it's like you have to vacuum these things up. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And stink bugs are at the bottom of the pecking order,
Right.
So you got something more harmful like a murder hornet, which I think should be changed to be homicide hornet, rolls off the tongue a little bit better.
Well, there's nothing like the word murder to get people's attention, but yeah, interesting point. I think that's going to be worthy of a show coming up, Steve. I've thought about it before, and I'll look at it again, and maybe that stink bug problem will be a part of it. But invasive species are everywhere, and it's only becoming more of a problem, not less. We have time for Dave on a wild card line, and I'm afraid no other time for some of the other regulars hanging on. But Dave?
Hey, well, yes. I tried to call again to get into a little bit more, but I wanted to touch a little bit from the perspective of you guys were talking about Salem witch trials, and then a couple of callers talked about even Copernicus and Galileo, who was actually tried for the craziness of thinking that the sun was the center of our universe, right, instead of our solar system instead of the sun. And I think how interesting it would be to think back then, if we have the kind of social media and even really TV social media, right? Because I don't really see much news anymore. How much crazier that would have been, because those social media and TV media drive people's emotions so much. And just think of how much more severe both those kinds of things would have been.
Or another way of looking at it too is that a show like Coast to Coast would have lasted about a cup of coffee before the authorities would have shut us down. And we would have been talking about Copernicus and then every other show host in the history of Coast to Coast. And probably some of the callers, too. Yeah, well, that's all. I did everything I could to get everybody on that I could. It's going to be other great shows this weekend. I won't be on. We'll talk to you again coming up next month. Daniel, hang in there. And to everybody else who's suffering, too, reach out. Find help where you can, and in the meantime, Deus te mat, and I do too.
I heard the Federal Reserve may raise interest rates.
Yes, in fact, mortgage rates have already started going up on the rumor.
That's why we just refinanced with Owning. We got a 30-year fixed 2.5% rate, 2.731 APR. And we also put thousands out in cash to use for a bunch of other things. Owning made the whole process fast and easy. Wait up! Check, please!
I'm going to call Owning and lock in my refi now.
Call Owning at 8332-OWNING or go to owning.com and lock in a 30-year fixed refi at today's 2.5% rate, 2.731 APR. That's 8332-OWNING or owning.com.
NMLS 2611, licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation in the South New Residential Mortgage Lending Act, subject to credit approval for qualified borrowers. Call 833-303-4161 for terms and equal housing rights.
Call Owning at 8332-OWNING or log on to owning.com. That's 8332-OWNING or owning.com. Portions of the following program will be recorded. These documents were obtained by the Wall Street Journal using the Freedom of Information Act. You would think that some of the other media here in California should have done the same thing. You have to fill out some paperwork, and they didn't bother. No, there's nobody looking out for you in Southern California except us. Nobody. Weekdays 2 to 6 on Kfi. Now, this segment is rated PG-13, just so you know. Since it's a little bit risque, here's what I tell people. If you have kids in the car, turn up the volume. Bill Handle. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Kfi. 911 system is totally broken. You called, you're on hold. You get a recording saying the first available operator will get to you. People call 911 and they ask for recipes for cornbread. And what's even worse, the 911 operator Bill Handle. Mornings from 6 to 10 on KFI. And we're going to give Shannon an alcohol test.
No, we're not.
Gary Shannon will
We're going to give you an emotions test, but that's the lane we're driving in. Find out where those are hiding.
Behind your bottle of Chardonnay.
Ouch. Sharpest knife.
Gary and Shannon. That's what's known as well.
We save the sharpest knife.
Oh, that's right. Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KFI. KFI, AM 640. KFI, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Heard any of our secret mind control hidden messages recently? No? That's because we're very good at it.
KFI.
KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Loaded Gun. I'm Brian Berman, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Court documents say the crew member who gave actor Alec Baldwin the gun that accidentally killed the cinematographer didn't know it was loaded. ABC's Kaylee Hartung says an assistant director had picked one of 3 prop guns that were being used on the movie set.
That AD then proclaimed to the crew the term cold gun, which is the term that used to let the crew know that this is a gun with no live rounds in it. At that point, Alec Baldwin fires the gun but there's foreign state.
Helena Hutchins was killed in the shooting on Thursday, and the movie director was hurt. The prop gun Baldwin used, his costume, and several other items from the set have been taken as evidence. News brought to you by Rooter Hero. Angela Whiting, a prop expert who works on Grey's Anatomy, tells the Johnny Kemp Show there are several precautions that go into having a prop gun on the set of a production.
Generally speaking, there's a number of safety meetings that transpire around the action, use, ammunition, timing. There's rehearsals where, the action is set up and rehearsed with rubber guns or, substitute items.
Whiting says prop guns normally use an empty cartridge to create the effect of a real gun. A proposed class action lawsuit says a warehouse fire is to blame for the odor in Carson.
Attorney Carlos Urzua says Pittsburgh's investigation found that a recent warehouse fire led to hand sanitizer and debris getting into the Dominguez Channel, which reacted with plants, causing the release of the chemical that causes the smell.
The hydrogen sulfide is toxic to everyone here, everyone in the surrounding areas.
This man says the stench has woken him and his family up in the middle of the night.
Like my grandson, he woke up and he's like, Papa, my eyes are burning.
The proposed suit calls on the owners and lessee of the warehouse to pay people's hotel fees and their future medical checkups. Blake Trolley, KFI News.
Former LAPD chief and city councilman Bernie Park says no one should be surprised at the 20-count indictment against Mark Ridley Thomas, especially Ridley Thomas. Parks issued a statement yesterday in which he outlined a series of ethical missteps on the part of Ridley Thomas, including dealings with union bosses, early agreements with USC, and the $707,000 office renovation during the budget crisis. Parks said people should be less focused on Ridley Thomas and more at the people who've enabled his behavior for decades. Environmentalists and people who live in Porter Ranch are calling on Governor Newsom to shut down the Aliso Canyon gas facility. The group gathered yesterday to mark the 6th anniversary of the leak, which was the largest in U.S. history. Food and Water Watch's Alexandra McGee says the group also wants Newsom to block 2 proposals to increase natural gas storage at the site.
Increasing storage limits at Aliso Canyon goes against what the governor wants, which is to close the field.
The California Public Utilities Commission will vote on the proposals next month. An Amazon driver in Boston has been arrested for allegedly dressing up as a woman and recording girls in a public restroom. Police say the guy was arrested this week, but they've been investigating him since August. Officers say people had reported seeing the guy wearing a wig in a mall bathroom. Investigators later found a pen camera on the man's sneakers that he used to record into bathroom stalls. Champagne experts say people are popping bottles at nearly pre-pandemic rates, myself among them. The General Syndicate of Champagne Wine Growers says people are ready to celebrate again, and champagne sales are soaring. Around 305 million bottles are expected to be sold around the world this year. There's a closure on the 101, a big one. We'll have more KFI traffic later.
When it comes to your identity and keeping it safe, the folks at LifeLock are making sure. So let's say during the pandemic, even now, you're working overtime, you're saving your money, you're paying off your debt, and now some identity thief wants to steal your information. This is why LifeLock by Norton helps monitor your information and alerts you to potential identity threats. And if you do become a victim, a dedicated USA specialist will be there to help fix it. Now, no one can prevent all identity theft and monitor every transaction, every business. But when identity thieves try to take what's yours, you don't have to take it lying down because there's a LifeLock. Save up to 25%.